games that we have on display here are obviously what we're working on and what we're excited about, but really the sort of driving force behind that is to show the people who are interested, the hardcore fans, what we've got on deck. The original Doom game, I think a lot of different people had different impressions of what the game meant to them. You know, for some people it was land deathmatch. For other people it was, you know, a really scary game, and for some people it was, you know, oh well, it was, you know, just this fast-paced action game. And we're really not trying to do all things that people might have perceived the original Doom to mean to them in Doom 3. In Doom 3, our goal is to create a really terrifying single-player experience, and we're going for the fear factor over the fast action pace of, say, Quake 3 Arena, where everybody runs around at 90 miles an hour. A lot of that comes down to what we're doing with regard to the visual images in the game, and they're so robust and they're so detailed that it just really isn't fair to the artists to have people run by at a blazing speed. So we've slowed the pace down a bit, tried to make the monsters more individually terrifying than the fact that you're just throwing loads of them at people at a given time, and make the environments really more immersive. Hyper-realistic is the way we think of it, because from what you can build in the Doom 3 technology from a level design standpoint, at this point it's really only limited by your imagination. So, I mean, you can actually do stuff that's, you know, way over the top. And of course, you know, the game's set, you know, a couple of 100 years in the future, 150 years in the future on Mars. So, you know, we're really going out there. Well, the way the game is designed is basically, if you think of it as being set up in scenes. And the way the levels are designed is sort of scene by scene, and each scene kind of involves a setup of like a movie set, if you will, especially from the lighting standpoint, what the designer wants to have, what type of interaction the designer wants to have between the player and the world, or the player and the monsters, or the NPCs, or what have you. So that's kind of the way the game design is actually built, and that's straight from the storyboard. I would say we're probably a good ways from the part where you can really actually sit down and sort of play test the game through in terms of a start to finish experience. John thinks that it's going to run on a GeForce One or similar graphics card, basically as long as you have geometry, acceleration, transform, and lighting on the board, that you'll be able to do the lighting and visibility calculations that are required now for the Doom 3 technology in real time, as opposed to a pre-processed visibility BSP calculation. The thing with Doom 3 is that you really, you know, some of the Quake 3 players now, they want to run the game at 120 frames a second, and if they can't get it that fast, then they start turning stuff off. And that's not really the experience that we have at all in mind for people who play Doom 3. We really envision an atmospheric game, and in fact, John, I believe, has capped the frame rate at a maximum of 60 frames a second. So no matter what you do, the game's not going to run faster than that. And we really believe that an acceptable and fun play experience will be at 30 frames a second, which is exactly what the Doom 3 presentation in the Doom 3 theater runs at. The design focus that we have for Doom 3 with respect to the game is to really focus on the single player. Some of the things that we would have to do if we wanted to put co-op in would basically dilute the single player, and we don't want to make that sacrifice. We really want it to be a suspenseful, scary experience. The idea is that the multiplayer will be simple but fun, you know, basically a deathmatch type experience. What the plan is with respect to consoles in general is that we're focused on the PC at this point, so we don't have anything in development for the Xbox today. But once we get further along in the PC development process, then Xbox is probably going to be the first console that we try to bring it up on. From a technical standpoint, because the architecture is so similar to the PC, that just makes the most sense, and we think that is the less. We have the fewest technical hurdles that will have to be overcome in terms of moving the game from PC to Xbox. A lot of people have asked about GameCube or PlayStation 2 or any other hardware apart from the Xbox, and I think it's really too early to tell at this point. I don't know that the PlayStation 2 hardware is going to be capable of presenting the type of experience that we believe is crucial to what we're trying to build within Doom 3. GameCube has some potential there, but there's a lot of unanswered technical questions that we'll just have to sort of cross those bridges when we get to them a little bit further down the road. I think in John's mind is that he has full intention to work on Xbox because he's been fully disclosed on the technical specifications of what the hardware is like. He's on the Xbox advisory board, obviously works very closely with NVIDIA, so he's pretty tuned in to exactly what makes the Xbox tick. You know, with the Xbox and PlayStation 2, that we've got a unique opportunity with Wolfenstein to really broaden the Wolf audience because, you know, there are so many PlayStation 2 players, especially outside the U.S. You know, our goal with the PlayStation 2 for Wolfenstein is to emulate the PC experience on the console and then take into account you know, some of the issues that people have traditionally had with first-person shooters with respect to the controls and maybe some of the level design and those sorts of things, and really make a console version of the single-player Wolfenstein experience. For Xbox, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, we're actually now to the point where we can put the entire PC experience there. The multiplayer may not have as high player limits but it will be the team-based multiplayer implementation that we had on the PC side. But now we've actually added in you know, a single-player co-op as well. So you know, we can even extend the Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, even beyond what we did on the PC on the Xbox. So that's really cool. So it gives people an opportunity that even if they had played it on the PC, that there's still some stuff in the Xbox that they haven't gotten to experience. At last year's QuakeCon, the announcement of Quake 4 was literally right after we had gotten the deal done, and Raven hadn't really even started other than maybe just some very early concept artwork on the game. And at this point, we're still in the design phase, so there's not a lot that we can talk about in terms of specifics about what will be in or won't be in the game. Can say that it's on the Doom 3 engine, that it's an extension of the Quake 2 universe, so you'll be a Space Marine fighting the Strogg. I think you go back to the planet, but really beyond, you know, those sorts of things, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with respect to Quake 4. The focus for Quake 4 is at the design level. Is sort of a story-driven single-player experience similar to what Quake 2 was like. But I'm confident that there's going to be a robust multiplayer game as well, because I think that, you know, although Quake 2 was primarily single-player and less on the multiplayer is that really what people think of Quake 2 today is how it lives on through its multiplayer and continued popularity online. What we want to do is, you know, that one thing and do that as well as we can do it, and just make, you know, with Doom 3, for example, we want Doom 3 to be just a kick-ass game, and that's what all of the attention at the company is put on, is making Doom 3 the best game that we can possibly make it. We're going to work on it until it's right. And if that's before E3, that's great. If it's after E3, you know, I don't think that anybody's gonna worry about it too much. Sooner is always better than later, but that doesn't really, you know, mean a lot for us. I mean, there's sort of an old adage in the game industry is that it can only be late until it ships, but it can be bad forever, and you know, we don't want to fall into that.